Welcome back to the Oddcast. I'm Alex.
And I'm Ricky.
And I am Paul.
Welcome, Paul. Today we are just 2.5 odd dudes that decided to start a podcast.
Yep, we're half because Paul has 8 toes.
I was gonna say because I'm short, but the 8 toes
Or
works
both.
too.
Yeah, you can be.
Thanks for that.
Yeah, you're welcome. Everybody knows now. This is why he's captain.
Technically, we already talked about this on the Oddcast.
Yeah,
and Alex argued with me about it, and I told him it was rude for him to say it to you. But anyways, today what we're going to be talking about is, big word term. That's not a big word, but we're going to talk about brotherhood and sisterhood. Even though we're not sisters, we're going to talk about what it's been like seeing the female friends in our life in the community that they've built together as just girls. Us building community together as guys, and then kind of the entire family aspect of what we've experienced as friends, and how big of an impact that's made on us.
Right, and how important it is for our listeners, or even people who aren't listening, obviously, to have that same kind of brotherhood or sisterhood.
Yeah, and we brought Paul on. He does a lot around here in the Oddcast studio to help us make sure we have good lighting and video editing and all that kind of stuff, but also
we would be lost without him.
Yeah, we definitely would. But also he's a huge part of our lives, and we'll today we'll tell the story of how Paul kind of came back into my life, as a friend. So, but I want to hear from Paul, so let's just get into it. Sound good?
Sounds good.
Let's get to the Oddcast. All right, guys, welcome back to listen to the Oddcast.
Yeah.
Especially if you maybe taking a break. We're on episode 10 today, which is amazing because we just thought of this idea randomly. And Alex and I, it was kind of our brainchild one day, kind of a dream. And we had been talking about it. We were starting it. We had tried it. It failed. Alex broke his mic. At least we thought he did. We weren't sure what was going to happen. Career changes happened, life went insane, and we decided we needed some creative, fun outlet. And so we were like, we're going to go for this. And we started talking to Paul about it. We started desperately asking Paul to be a part of it for our video side of it. And he's come along for the journey as a part of the Oddcast. We hope to have him on a good amount of episodes whenever we can get him on camera and hanging out with us. But he runs a lot of the behind the scenes, which is we are thankful for. So thank you, Paul. Thank you for being here.
Happy to be here, guys.
Yeah. And that's why he also gets the official title as captain of the Odd Squad.
Right. And because he has 8 toes.
Yeah. Well, he does.
Alex does have to do with it?
Alex just really wants to bring that up.
Did I bring that up before? I don't know. I feel like I've never talked about that before.
Well, today, like we said, we're going to talk about brotherhood and just our friendship and the sisterhood. But I want to just pass the mic over to Paul, metaphorically, not literally. And kind of let him talk about his perception of how he kind of came back into my life, or I came back into his life, because I think that's a cool story, but I usually am the one that tells that because I talk the most. So go ahead, Paul, take it away.
Yeah, so Ricky and I went to high school together, but we were kind of in our own different friend groups. Mm-hmm. So we knew of each other, but we never really actually talked to each other or hung out or anything. We saw each other in passing, but that was about it.
Were you the nerdy one, or were you the cool one?
Oh, I was the nerdy one, for sure. Okay. Yeah.
Was Ricky the cool one, or?
Oh, of course.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know if I was I wasn't a cool kid though, right? I was just the kind of person that everyone knew, and everyone's like, oh yeah.
But Paul says you're the cool guy.
Well, he was the sporty one that had the good smile, so everybody wanted to be Ricky's friend.
Got it.
Yeah. And I was the the drummer that everybody saw, and they're like, who's that weird kid?
Nice.
Yeah. And I was a sports guy that wasn't mean.
Yeah.
So that Zach and I were a rarity. So we were more popular because of that. Zach was definitely more popular than I was though.
Okay.
He was a Stuco kid, that's why. Those Stuco kids.
Classic.
They're definitely worse than band kids, if you know what I'm saying.
Everybody's worse than band kids. That's not true. Band kids are not good.
I've heard some stuff about band kids. I don't know. I don't know about that.
That is not appropriate for this podcast.
That is a different story for a different day.
Yeah.
Not on this podcast. But yeah, so after high school, went to college. We did our own separate thing. Kind of never saw each other. I totally forgot that he existed forever.
Yeah.
And then I had started flirting with the idea of going to church, and finally actually like found a church and started getting into the groups at the church, and there was a small group getting started up, and I was like, hey, like that, I guess I can start meeting other people and trying to be friends with other people, and
which is hard for some people,
right?
Especially band kids.
Friends.
Yeah, especially after college, like in college, after college, like actually meeting like actual friends or like trying to meet people that aren't in college. It was, sorry, I'm hitting the table.
You're good.
It was out of my realm of comfortability. Is that a word? Sure.
Yeah,
we'll
it
go
is
with that.
now.
It's an odd word, so it counts.
Sweet. And yeah, so I just, I texted this guy and said, hey, when's this small group? And he's like, oh yeah, it's this time. So I showed up, and it was at Ricky's apartment. He was running the small group.
Yeah.
It was the first day, and
It was.
I was the first person there. So I walked into the apartment, I saw him, and we made eye contact, and it was like, I know you. And he's like, I know you.
Wait, I have a question. At this moment, did the previous time which you saw him, Ricky, did he have a beard?
No.
So you noticed him
Yeah.
post beard.
Yeah.
Which is weird because most people don't recognize me from high school.
Yeah, I remember from high school. He didn't have a beard in high school, but he what the funnier part was he had gotten in contact with someone else.
Yeah.
And they had sent him my info. And so then he
Okay.
texted me. And then they called me because there was someone else at the church and was like, hey, this guy's going to come tell me a little bit about, because they had gotten coffee or something. I was like, oh, all right, cool. And he showed up, and it was just like, oh, we know each other. But it was one of those, it was like that awkward, I think I know their name.
Oh.
I think I know them. And I know where I know them from. But it was that I know who this is, but is it weird if I know their name? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, because we hadn't talked in 5 years at that point or
Yeah.
whatever it was. Maybe it wasn't that long ago, but 4 years. It was a couple years.
It was a few years. And it's even weirder because I knew his name because the guy that I talked to gave me his full name, and I didn't even put two and two together until I walked through the door. It was, I don't know.
And then we knew. And then I like to joke that Paul's just never left.
I haven't.
He's just always at my house. And
I
love
sleep
it.
here.
Yeah. In the studio.
Next to Dozer.
Yeah, next to Dozer. They both sleep in the kennel.
They both, yeah.
But that was that is so, oh, wow, that was hard to say. That was so important, such an important part of my life, because I was really struggling with the same thing. Ironically, like I was really struggling, even the position I was in where we were starting to smoke, I was struggling with friendships of other males in my life. And my wife was as well. We were kind of in transitioning out of an old friend group and trying to figure out where we were going. We were both working. We were both, starting up back in school. It was a really busy time for us. Or maybe we hadn't started in school yet, but she was finished school. I don't remember exactly, but it was hard to find friends, right? And we've talked about this a lot. And so that group was really the start of a new understanding of friendship and the importance of community and brotherhood in our life, or my life and my wife's life, sisterhood for her, right? Or just friendship. But Paul and I's relationship is, as now, like I consider Paul a brother, has changed drastically even since that time, right? Like we were complete opposites, people that wouldn't hang out in high school, right? Even though I was cool there, it wasn't just a natural hangout. And now it's like, last week he came over and we watched in 2 days, we watched the whole first season of Mandalorian together because he hadn't seen it, right? Like, and I've already seen it, but it was, it's a good friend if you're willing to rewatch a whole season with someone, right?
Yeah.
Like, and that's where we're at. Like, I wouldn't do that with Alex.
Yeah.
Just kidding. I would do it with Alex too. He just hasn't asked to watch Mandalorian with me. Paul
I'd only do it with Paul anyway too.
Yeah,
so.
that's fair. That's fair. Paul is the coolest out of all of us.
And the best to watch movies with.
And the best beard.
Easily.
But the least toast.
That's true. Least toast.
I have to make up for it somewhere.
So, that's kind of how we met. And then Alex, we have told our story, and then you kind of joined into the group, and this weird mesh kind of happened where we all just really clicked.
Yeah. It is kind of odd because it's like, it's odd. Branding.
Yeah.
It's the best, right?
Good one.
Because I used to be your kid in junior high, not your child.
Not my child.
Your your youth kid. Yeah. Back when I was in junior high or high school. I don't remember when.
Christianese language.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know about youth group, that's how we talk about youth kids.
The leaders take possession of the
exactly.
children.
Legally. It's incredible.
They actually own them at that point.
But like, so, I mean, our relationship has kind of transitioned from like that leadership role and that church role to actually being like, now we're peers and we're friends. And that is that brothership role. Which is kind of this strange transition, because as a youth kid, you still like tell your leaders stuff. You still like, they know you on a deeper level than just like even your typical friends, because they're the people you go to for advice. But to go from that spot of like, okay, I go to him for advice. I mean, I would still go to you for advice, but it's not like it is more of a brotherly thing now.
Right?
It's not like he's my superior.
Yeah, it's not like, tell me what to do. It's like, hey, how would you handle this?
Right. Yeah.
Well, and so one of the reasons we work so well together is because we have very common beliefs and understandings about a lot of things. But in all reality, like Paul and I mesh better than you and I do, like with what we like. And
how dare you?
Yeah, that's just right. But what's so funny is those things, though they're important and they help connect friendships, right? Like me and you think better in like brainstorming sessions, I feel like, because Paul and I are so similar, right?
Right. Okay.
Like, and I don't know how your guys' relationship is together, but like
a lot of hugs.
A lot of hugs.
But like Paul and I are so similar, like we wouldn't brainstorm well together because we would just be like, yeah, and we'd be on the same kind of wavelength. And you like are the opposite of what we kind of are, in my opinion. You're like, what about this? And you're like, no, Alex, that's dumb. But
like
then
my headphones.
Like your headphones. Yeah. We both think you need better headphones. But like in the comments if you think Alex should get cooler looking headphones.
You can't like in the comments.
Like it.
Yeah.
Just if you like it, then he should get cooler headphones.
Make a comment in this audio podcast.
Yeah.
No, dislike it if you don't like my headphones.
If they don't like your headphones?
Yeah.
So then both of those are for us.
Yeah.
No, like it if you want me to get rid of the headphones. And dislike it if you don't like my headphones.
That's the same thing.
Yeah. I agree. Do what Alex just said.
Alex. It's good.
So
do that.
So oh my gosh, I just lost my train.
I hope nobody likes our video.
So on this kind of idea, we're talking about that community that we built, right? And how we think differently, we think similarly. I would assume you guys think somewhat differently, but there's this meshing that happens because we've started to talk about not just things we like, but that depth of life. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like this is what I'm struggling with. This is who I am. These are my quirks. These are the things that I like about myself that are weird. These are things that I don't like about myself that I need to change. I need to grow in.
Right.
We share those with each other.
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, I know I could just speak for me. That's pushed me to a new level of learning how to trust other people in my life, because I'm not great at that. Like I don't like to do that because it's scary. But also actually having accountability to grow, right? Not just asking like, hey, will you help me, hold me accountable to not do this? But there's actually I don't know, there's something behind it now, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally. I mean, not so long ago, maybe it was a long time ago. I don't know when we started it, but a while back we started meeting together and talking through like deeper problems in our lives, talking about actually like what's going on, or talking about theology or whatever it is, having this, like you said, like deeper conversation, which I think pushes past that typical small talk, especially within like male friendships.
Yeah.
Because we don't like, stereotypically at least, men don't like to get more emotional and more deep with other men.
Right.
Because
we
feels...
Yeah, we repress those. We push them down. They don't exist.
Because it makes you weak.
Yeah, it makes you weak.
You don't become alpha male.
Yeah.
But
we're all weak men.
Yeah. We're all super weak. But we started doing that, and it has produced this like this brotherhood of okay, if I have people, or I have people now who I can go to, who I will like trust to deal with me in a way that is not only godly, but also I can trust them not to go out like spreading everything, you know?
Right. Yeah. Well, especially I've got to talk on here a lot about my experience in high school. So I guess, Paul, what has kind of the transition been for you? You talked about showing up at my door. We started just hanging out in group together, and that kind of blossomed into we were like realizing we liked a lot of similar things, like guns and
cigars
and that kind of stuff.
And Tony Hawk Pro Skater.
Absolutely.
We do. Paul's amazing at Tony Hawk Pro Skater. I like Tony Hawk Pro Skater. I am not good at Tony Hawk Pro Skater, but Paul is amazing at Tony Hawk Pro Skater. But anyways, we both like it. So how has it been? What has it been like in your life, kind of being a part of this kind of group? Because Alex and I have that connection longer, but it's very churchy, right?
Yeah.
It's very. But now we're starting to grow out of that.
Yeah.
Not grow out of church, but our relationship, our friendship is moving in a different direction. What is it like kind of being a part of that friend group for you now, having been more recent into that kind of realm, as you said, starting into, a church small group or whatever?
Well, I think it goes farther back than high school because, I mean, you guys at least have brothers. I'm an only child. So that drive for community has been like in me for a while, just to have people around me that I can trust. I'm not saying that I had a terrible childhood. I didn't, but it did get lonely at times.
Yeah.
So that need or that want to be around people that are like-minded, that you can trust, that you can lean on if you are struggling or you're having issues, like it's something that I've wanted for a really long time. And I have my friends from high school, so I'm not going to say that I didn't have that in high school, but now where I am in my life, I'm looking for something more. And this church group that we have has been like the best thing that's ever happened in my life. So like this brotherhood has completely changed my mindset on how to go about making friends or how to communicate with people. Just straight up communication, like being able to actually like talk about your emotions or actually be able to trust somebody with even like the smallest little bit of who you are. Like I would never have done that before this group. So it's changed. Like brotherhood is super important, and I can't stress that enough. So like I'm super grateful to have you guys in my life. Like there's nothing that I can't, or nothing bad I can say about what I have,
And it's hard, right? Like not like we've had like big blow up fights or anything, but like you have disagreements and you have to work through those, right? But the understanding of a community and what we built is it's been a lot of hard work and it's been intentional, right? So you were talking about us meeting. We meet weekly. Yeah. Except for, right now we're in Christmas season and all that. So, but we're still like here, we're meeting, right? So we're like, hey, we have 2 other guys that are in our group that, so there's 5 of us weekly that are meeting. We do book studies, or we do, we talk about the Bible, we talk about these different things, or we just talk about life together. But at the same time, it's also where we will come in weeks and we'll be like, we're all exhausted. We don't have the mental power to really go into anything deep. Right. And we start arguing over like Marvel movies and Spider-Man and like, but it's just those people in our lives that's that deep connection where we can know, there's something beautiful about knowing I can be so adamantly opposed to someone in our group about something so stupid, but know that at the end of the day, they still love me.
Right. Yeah.
And they're not going to leave all huffy and puffy about me saying that Batman could beat Spider-Man.
Right, which is totally wrong.
Right. And we could argue over that. And even some silly ways that you get kind of heated, right? But we leave going, hey, man, I love you.
Right.
And I think that's something I've noticed in us. And maybe you guys can share some thoughts on this, but we've started being more intentional about saying, I love you to each other. Not like we're trying to get rid of the stigma, right? Like, I guess in some ways we are, but we're not trying to make a point about it. We just genuinely care for and love each other like brothers. So we should say that. And I know like that's really hard for me. And we've had that conversation. And then to bring in the girls, the sister side of it, like my wife is really close with these girls in our group. Yeah. And there's this, sorry, I was about to sneeze, I thought. But again, there's like 3 episodes in a row. But then and so she's close with that. And so then they kind of look to me as like a brother, like an older brother. And there's this expectation, and I should like care for them, because I do care for them, to be like, hey, I love you because you're my sister. But there's this weirdness about it. Right. It's like, oh, it's a girl. Like, you can't say I love you to a girl. But like,
you're married, sir.
Yeah, like I have a sister and I tell her I love her, right? Like, shout out Keegan. She's been asking for a shout out on the podcast. So if she hears this, I'm not going to tell her it's in here, But if she hears it, then she knows.
Oh, if you hear it, like this video. I'm just kidding.
So
you can't say to dislike it and then go back later and say that.
I said to do either.
He's
either
odd.
way.
He's odd. He could do whatever he wants. Yeah. But you know what I'm saying? Like that I don't know. This group has really grown me in that of it's okay and it's wonderful and it's beautiful to tell people that you love them.
Yeah.
Say it. There's nothing wrong with it.
Right. It's like, honest. It's
right,
being
mean
real.
It, but yeah. So I guess yeah. Do you have any thoughts on that?
I had a thought kind of a little bit earlier. We were talking about like, how we met, or not how we meet up like weekly, and we have kind of this bank of time that we always put in for each other. And there's, I'm not like a big workout guy. So if this is wrong, that's fine.
That's okay.
We'll correct
Tall guys don't squat.
Yeah. Hopefully you guys can correct me. Yeah. So from what I understand, when you work out a lot, it increases your metabolism. So your metabolism, your metabolism gets healthier, so that you burn off calories even while you're not working out. So like while you're sleeping, you burn off more calories than you did before you were working out.
You're good so far.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, that's all of it. So, so in the same way, like us putting in that like genuine time with each other and consistently doing it has deepened our friendship in times that we're not doing that, like that book study or that whatever, like in times that we're hanging out just with groups of like all of the young adults, or even if it's just one-on-one, or like I came over to your apartment today, like it really banks in a lot of relationship that helps us throughout the week or other times to have deeper relationships and know when the other person is like doing bad, or be able to ask those questions and not feel weird. Yeah.
So to transition this, so it's not, I mean, it's wonderful hearing about us, but for the people listening, how would you guys kind of translate this into why is it so important to have that? Like clearly we talked about the benefits we've seen ourselves, but what benefit is there for other people to go, hey, you need to have these type of friendships, and what step do you have to take to get there? Right. Like I think a lot of people have friends.
Right.
And then they say, oh, I'm busy to go to that next step.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's just a lot of people don't understand the beautiful, wonderful, amazing, any other adjective that you can fill in here, understanding of what this deep friendship means for your whole life, not just, oh yeah, we're tight. Like our friendship has transformed my relationship with my wife.
Yeah. Right.
Because you guys are now friends that are like, hey, you're not being a good husband right now. Like you guys have the permission, and I've asked you to, and hope that you will be honest with me, to call me out in those areas. Right. So what is your thoughts on, that was a long question that I then explained. What is your thoughts on like the transitioning this into the people listening? Why is that friendship so important? And how do we as a society get better at that?
I would love to answer that, but I have a good friend named Paul who would love to answer it more.
Yeah.
A good brother.
A good brother, yeah.
Paul?
Yeah.
I love you.
I love you too, man.
Oh my gosh.
So, there was a lot of questions in that.
Yeah. My main one is just, if we're trying to transition this into kind of like helpful advice from our own personal experience, what kind of helpful advice do we have for people, and also motivation for why this type of community is important to put on the calendar, like Alex said.
Right. So like, why is it important, and how do we get there?
Yeah.
Everybody wants to better themselves. And if you don't want to better yourself, then you're kind of joking yourself. But it's a whole lot harder to do it by yourself. It's a whole lot easier to do it when you have people kicking you in the butt when you need to be kicked in the butt, or pulling you along when you need to be pulled along, or be there by your side when you need them to be by your side. Doing it by yourself is a whole lot harder, and it's a whole lot more fun to do it with people that you trust and you love. So that's my reasoning for it. That's why I think it's important.
Yeah.
To be able to do it with people.
I mean, actually, that's a huge point, because like, Paul, you're reading through the Bible.
Yeah.
Like just straight through.
I actually just finished it yesterday.
The whole Bible?
Yeah.
Wow.
From start to finish yesterday.
I'm so impressed.
We did it all yesterday.
Well, so like, wow, that's incredible. But that's been one of those things that, like, I look at you, like you said, it's easier to do it when you have people around you encouraging you. And it's not even that, like, you have to have people who are encouraging you to do something, but you also have people who are just doing something that is really great for them, like reading through the entire Bible. It like just like you're plowing through it and clearly just finished it, and that is a huge encouragement to me. So like having those people around you who are going in the same direction as you, sometimes it's not even like an active them trying to hold you accountable to something, but they are passively encouraging you to do something because they're just moving in the same direction, and they're at least in one area or two areas or whatever, like doing better than you.
And there's a healthy competition there, right?
Is.
Like
I love healthy competition.
Right, but and not even like that's the point, but you're like, oh man, like they're really killing it, right? Yeah. It I've noticed in myself, I'll make justified excuses, right? For those watching with your ears, I gave air quotes, justified.
Yeah.
You justify it, right?
Yeah.
Oh, well, this is why. But then when you see someone that's very similar to you and that's close to you, and they're like killing it, you're like, oh no, like my excuse is a lot less good of an excuse now.
Yeah.
And so there's a competitiveness that is healthy, I think, in spurring us on. But I think one of the other things you had said was doing that with someone else is more fun, like just having that person there. Where I think we've talked about this on here of, like I like movies, but I like movies with people because I want to talk about the movie. Like if we're gonna go see a movie together and then you don't want to go get dinner and talk about the movie after, you just like want to go to the movie and then go home. I'm like, I don't want to go see a movie with you. Yeah. Like if I'm enjoying this experience with you, I want to talk to you. But what I've realized is that's a new revelation for me in my own understanding of myself, because I didn't used to be like that. I used to be fine with going to the movie, go see the premiere. Oh, sorry, just punch the mic. I do that every week. Sorry, guys. I used to go see a movie and then leave and just be fine. Right? Go see a premiere, even if a movie I didn't really care about because I just want to be with people. That was how I used to be.
Yeah.
Now, because I have these friendships, like when we go do something, or like if you guys are going to do something and, send in the group chat, hey, who wants to go do this? We could be so busy, Eric and me. I'm like, I really want to go hang out with the people, right? I know I'm more of an extrovert, but this is like a new phenomenon in my life in the last couple of years going like, I don't want to miss out. Like, not
You've developed late stage FOMO.
No, not even that. Like, it's not a fear of missing out. It's just that desire of like, well, if I don't see the movie with them, now there's no point in seeing the movie. Like, what am I? I'm not scared of missing out the experience in that moment. I'm just like thinking, like almost selfishly of now going like, well, that movie's ruined because honestly, all my friends went and saw it already.
That happened to me with the movie Tenet. I don't know how it's said. I haven't seen it.
Neither have I. We could go together without Paul.
Could. What? I'll go see it with you guys.
Nope, you're not allowed.
I'll see it for the fifth time.
You saw it without us.
5 times?
I love that movie.
So here's what happened to me is like I had 3 people who before the movie came out were all thinking about seeing it. And I was like, great, I'll go with one of them. And then time came and they were ready to go and I couldn't go. And I missed all 3 of them. And after that, I was like, I don't want to see, like, I'm not going to go to the movies by myself and just sit there and watch it because it won't be fun for me.
Right. Because, well, even if you go with someone that you don't really like connect with and that, like, even if they have a different taste in movies or whatever, right. Like I love Israel, like our good buddy who's a part of our group.
Yeah.
But I don't like he likes different movies than me. So like when we go see Star Wars together usually because we connect on Star Wars. Yeah. But other movies, I'm like, I don't know if we'll be a good pairing for movies.
Yeah.
Like, you got to have a movie buddy that understands your taste in movies. Yeah. Paul understands this because he's like a super film guy. That's why he does our film stuff. But we're running out of time. In the sense of community and what we've seen in our lives, what I've seen in my wife with the girls, it just transforms things, and I think it's worth the time, right? So
absolutely.
If you, what do you guys think? Like I'm to the point now where I think, and I've talked about this, like you always have enough time to do something. I think there needs to at least be one day where it's kind of set aside as much as you can, one day a week to really spend time investing in friendships. Yeah. I know that's hard because, you might have kids, you might have work, you might have all these other things, but to go, okay, how do we make this work? Because we've talked about before, if you have kids, you should model this for your kids, the importance of a beautiful, wonderful friendship and community, right? So what are you guys doing in your life or would recommend of like how often and the time frame of those things?
Yeah. Well, you mentioned that. And I think another one of the roadblocks is like a lot of people don't have deep friendships right now. Right. And that comes by actually setting aside time and doing it. But it is intimidating for a lot of people to try and start doing that kind of thing.
Social media is not a friendship.
Yeah.
Get off social media and see people in person. That's a friendship.
Well, in relationship to what you were just saying, though, I've actually seen a lot of people kind of rekindle friendships during this time, because before it was like, oh, it's kind of awkward to FaceTime or Zoom or any of those things.
Right.
Now it's just the only way you have interaction. So people are willing to do it because they're like, oh, well, if I'm FaceTiming this person, I might as well FaceTime that person.
True. Yeah, I guess. I don't FaceTime. I have an Android.
Yeah, so overall, the question, I guess, is, or my thought process I'm trying to get at is, we're trying to encourage people to see the beauty. I keep using the word beauty because it's just the only word I have, right? Yeah. Of the friendship and intimacy that can be created when you put in the time. But it's hard, right? Like, you now work out in Tempe.
Right.
You work like 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. or something. I don't know, like your commute and everything now, right? Like, yeah. So what's it like for you? I know, you're not married, you're dating, you're having to spend that time building that relationship and also friendships. What is that like in the current stage for you?
Yeah.
Alex, that was Alex.
Oh, that's me. Current stage for me, I mean, it's like nice to have Tuesday. Like, we always meet on Tuesdays, whether it's we're going to film a podcast or we're going to, meet and do our like guys group. This week we didn't do our guys group, so we're just filming the podcast. But, like, it is nice to have that specific day set aside, because otherwise I have so many things that I could do during a day, and it's like, it's nice to have a very specific schedule.
Yeah.
So I don't neglect it, because things get busy. And like, if I don't have a specific schedule or a specific day that I always meet with somebody, it will get neglected.
Yeah. So you think that if we didn't have Tuesday nights, this would stop for you?
I mean,
if we're like, oh, we might do this night, we might do that night, like, you would be less likely to keep going.
Yes and no. I mean, because obviously, like, we still hang out on Sundays. We still do the podcast and everything like that. It's just having that intentional time of how we're going to interact and talk about, either like deeper theology or just how we're doing is something that would be harder for me to like come by, because I'd have to like ask one of you to go get coffee, or I'd have to like go get dinner with all of you, or get everybody's schedule together in order to talk to all of you. Yeah, it would. It wouldn't be. We'd have to share a Pizookie. Yeah.
Whoa, is that an option?
Yeah.
You heard that, Paul. Alex is going to take me out for a Pizookie.
I will, but you're
I'm
buying.
jealous.
Yeah, you can come as long as you buy.
Yeah. So I know Paul's got a crazy busy schedule. Yeah. Right. Like, so what's it like for you having that kind of set aside time? Does it make it easier, you think?
Yeah, it does. Well, my mindset for stuff is you're going to put your time and your money and your effort into the things that you care about. Mm-hmm. And I care about this group. I care about you guys. You guys are my brothers, like, I care about you. So I'm going to set aside the time, no matter what it takes, to be here for you guys, because I know that you'd be here for me.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So, yeah, I'm busy, but I never look at that as a reason or an excuse not to be there for people that I care about.
Mm-hmm.
So the Tuesday thing, it works for my schedule, but I made it work for my schedule. Like, I had 3 other things that I could be doing, right. But I took this because this is more important. This is the most important thing to me.
Yeah, you prioritized it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's probably the most helpful advice we've had today, of scheduling it.
Yeah.
Right? Like, how many times in your life have you said to someone, hey, we should go get coffee?
Many times.
We should go fill in the blank. And then it's 6 months later and you see him again and you say the same thing. Yep. Man, that's so cringeworthy when you start to think about it. Yep. Like, hey, we should go. And you're like, oh, I'll text him. Never text him. Oh, I'll FaceTime him. Never like, you never get to it. Just do it then.
Yeah, what's stopping you?
Yeah, we all have calendars right at our fingertips now. Well, most of us, right? On your phone.
Right.
Just schedule something in. And be consistent about it.
Right.
And, man, I think just the consistency will help relational friendships grow over time.
Right, because, I mean, it shows intention and it shows commitment to, like, hey, we are going to be friends and we're going to actually talk.
Right. And it might be awkward the first time.
And the second time.
Right. Paul and I used a joke. We would go on man dates together. And that's what I tell my wife. I'm like, I'm going on a man date with Paul tonight. And we just go get dinner.
Yep.
And we aren't like go watch the football game. Like, I would watch a football game, but it's not like exciting to me in the same regards of like just hanging out with people and talking.
Right. And not
like,
with Paul.
Right. Especially not with Paul.
I hate football.
Definitely with Alex. I mean, look at that football build over there.
So I'm sportsman, dude.
Yeah.
What's up?
Sportsman, dude.
You and those ankles.
Official title.
My ankles are so sportsy.
But just the understanding of we have that, and we're not embarrassed by it. It's not embarrassing, but we've also prioritized it.
Yeah.
And I think more people would have a healthier view, like life and mental health in a lot of ways, if they had that community that they actually prioritized over whatever other things you have. Like, there's a lot that you can do in this life, and you can fill it up with clubs and sports and work and your kids' stuff. But man, it's really good. And I hope that this year has been a really good testament to that for a lot of people, of maybe some of the things that we had in our life that you had to cut out, maybe it's good you cut them out.
Yeah.
Right? Like, maybe it's good that you kind of slowed down a little and spent more time with your family and, actually ate dinner together maybe. Like, we eat dinner together. We'll sit around and be like, hey, when you guys were over last week, I was like, hey, let's just have dinner.
Yeah.
And we did. That's weird. Like, that's a weird thing in our culture.
Yeah.
Right? But it's because it's not weird to us anymore because we do it consistently.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't have really anything else, but Paul, you have any last words of wisdom you want to give to the people while you have your chance on air?
There's a lot of words of wisdom.
Yeah.
Hey, you're captain of the Odd Squad. It's
How about
heavy
this?
calling.
Give out a shout out to the Odd Squad, whatever it is you want to say that's appropriate, and then end it with your last words of wisdom in brotherhood/sisterhood/community.
Odd Squad, I love you as a brother.
Not sisters. There's no.
Well, he is the brother.
I am the brother.
He loves them as a brother.
As a brother. I love you.
Well, no, but that sounded like when like you text a girl and then they're like, I love you as a brother. Oh, I guess I said like a brother.
Yeah.
Like and as are the synonyms, so.
No, he was right. He's right.
I'm your brother. And I love you.
Well, this is falling apart.
So what's your advice?
Don't be afraid. This guy.
I know. See, now you know what I'm working with over there. He's Giggle McGee over there.
Yep, that's my name.
He's got a good laugh, though.
Am I good? Can I go?
You're fine.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just want to make sure I had permission.
Advice away, Captain.
On your podcast.
You're a permission granted.
Thank you.
It's getting spicy over on that side of the table.
My advice would be, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of making new friends or getting more close to the friends you already have. Because for me, I have a close group of friends, but I have a lot of acquaintances.
Yeah.
And, some of those people I probably should reach out to and bring them into the fold as well. But, I'm content with the brotherhood that I have and the sisterhood, because we got sisters too.
Yeah, we do.
But don't be afraid.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the world that we live in right now is so full of fear for no reason. Like, we just need to get past that, get off of social media, and start talking to each other and not be afraid of opening up to people.
Yeah, like someone in real life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
IRL.
I like that advice.
Use the care emoji from Facebook in real life.
Well, and what we've experienced, like to kind of close this up, what we've experienced is, the shameless plug here, the Oddcast and the odd aspects of each of our friendships kind of highlight each other in our friendships.
Yeah.
Like, we all have different, like, we're similar in some ways and we're completely different in others, right? And so those odd quirks highlight each other and they become a point of connection for us.
Right.
That we tease each other, but we also know that we love each other and we'd go to battle for each other.
Right.
Because we put that time in, that consistency, that priority, that intimacy.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, we've made it work despite our differences.
Yeah. Well, we're going to wrap up for today. You know, we went long again today. It's kind of keeps getting longer, but we've enjoyed, you know, just the ability to be here. Paul, thank you so much for being on today. You know, let us know if you guys want Paul on more. He can't be on every episode because he has to take care of the camera for us because Alex and I have no idea what we're doing.
Yeah, and it's 2 odd dudes.
And it's 2 odd dudes.
We can't make it 3 odd.
Yeah, 2.5 odd dudes now for today. But thank you guys. Please join the Odd Squad. Buy a t-shirt, buy a sticker. We'd really appreciate any, you know, comments, reviews, share, you know, the podcast, you know, via Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or YouTube. Share with your friends, and you know that would really help us. We're hoping to continue to grow in how we do this. But
yeah, and if you share the Oddcast on your social media, we'll send you a photo of Paul kissing a can of Campbell's soup.
Does it have to be Campbell's? Because we're not sponsored by them. Can it just be a generic?
It'll be
soup?
Campbell's soup with duct tape over the logo.
Got it.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry, Paul. You just got voluntold for that.
Yeah.
But I'm the captain
of the Odd Squad, not of the podcast.
Yep. You got told. Well, thanks guys for listening to the Oddcast, and as always, until next time, stay on.